So what I wanted to do for this project was look at 1960s makeup and how it correlated with social and political movements. Actually, when you look at the makeup diversity that you see in the 1960s, it correlates a lot with the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, and the hippie counterculture. But before I could go that route, I had to distinguish what were the trends in the 40s and 50s that the women in the 1960s were breaking away from. So in the 1940s, you see a lot of makeup emphasizing patriotism. And also when you get into the later 40s and through the 1950s, it's about sexuality and conformity. A lot of this has to do with just the marketing techniques that were used. So for this project, I looked a lot at advertisements and magazine covers from the time. So here we have an example from 1944. You can see in the background that you have, patriotic women, and the color that she has for the Q-Tex nail polish is red, which was a very big symbol during the war. And you even started to see makeup products that were marketed with, liberty and freedom and any kind of, empowering message to them during the war effort. Later on, in the 1940s and 50s, when men are returning back from the war, you have women wanting to find a husband and start making babies, and that's why we have the baby boomers. And here you can see in this Honda advertisement that the name of the shade is Beau Bait, and women would try to get a man. And this was just all the marketing campaign at the time. But then it kind of starts to shift after this into the mid-50s. And you see an emphasis on conformity. Women, all the makeup looks very similar. You have the red lipstick, you have the winged eyeliner for the most part, and you have a matte complexion. And there was an emphasis that every woman was supposed to wear makeup. And if you deviated from that, you were, that was just not acceptable. So then you get into the 1960s with women like Twiggy, and they basically were saying, hey, we can create our own looks, we can do something different than our mothers did in the 1960s. So we have a lot of different youth movements at this time. We have the emphasis on this bare natural look, a dewy complexion, looks like you're not really wearing makeup. You also have the mod influence from the British invasion with Twiggy, and then you have the hippie counterculture. And these are pretty much the main three that we see within the youth groups. So here we have an example of the mod look. This is from 1967. Twiggy, brought a lot of her style over to America, which is what I wanted to focus on, was more specifically America and these political movements. So as you can see, she doesn't really have a lot of blush. She doesn't have red lipstick. This is a very different look than we saw in the 1950s. So then we get into the natural counterculture type makeup. There were two ways to go about this. You see this woman here, she looks kind of glowy, kind of natural. She does have that green with that emphasis on being natural. And then you also have this, which is Twiggy again. And you can kind of see on one side of her face, she's got a big flower painted on there, which that's where the term flower child came from, is this kind of makeup. And when I looked into it, this makeup was during a lot of hippie festivals, so think maybe the Summer of Love, 1967, that these youth, they were very disillusioned with the world. The Vietnam War was, raging on. They felt displaced at home. They were against the war, and they wanted to paint on their faces and on their bodies, this message of peace and love that they wanted so desperately in their world. So you see flowers, you see rainbows, you see peace signs among these individuals. So then we get into the civil rights movement and African American women, who I feel they've been very underrepresented in beauty culture. And you start seeing changes in the 1960s where there is more inclusiveness. And I love and hate this quote at the same time because it makes me very sad that, who taught you to hate the color of your skin and, to go the route of bleaching it. And that's what happened in the 1950s. A lot of African American women, they would use skin lightening products, and they wanted wanted to conform to white American beauty standards. You start seeing in the mid-60s a rejection of that and embracing natural African beauty. So you finally start to see that inclusiveness, and I'll show you a couple examples of how they did that. We see it right here, and I love this picture because it is so powerful to me. She is not a model, she is an activist. And this is the first time that a non-model was on the cover of Ebony. And you'll notice that she has her dark complexion, she has her natural hair texture, she doesn't straighten it, she doesn't conform to the 1950 standards. And this was a way that they finally embraced, their natural beauty, and a lot of it had to do with civil rights, and it had to do with Black Power movements and the Black Panthers. And then you can see here in this image that Posner was starting to market specifically for African American women. They say especially for your brunette complexions. You'll see on the right side of her face that she is very light, and this is representative of the 1950s and how women tried to look white or whiter to conform. And then you see that she has makeup that matches her natural complexion. Then we get to the feminists, and most feminists rejected makeup altogether. There were some, like Gloria Steinem, who did wear makeup, and she used makeup to kind of further the women's progression in the women's movement. So I love this quote, and I looked at a lot of Friedan, and I looked at a lot of advertisements that came out in the 60s about women and women's liberation, more specifically. And I looked at a couple instances that really highlighted what feminists felt about makeup, and that would probably be the 1968 Miss America beauty pageant, where they set up freedom cans outside and they protested what Miss America meant. They thought that she had this standard of beauty that nobody could reach, and they threw away their bras, their lipsticks, their makeup products, anything that was oppressive, in these freedom cans. And their whole thing was that makeup was holding a lot of women back, that they were expected to look sexual, they were supposed to look together, and the standard of beauty that nobody could just reach. And they were really against that. Of course, there were people like Steinem and Germaine Greer who, they were beautiful, they did wear makeup, and they kind of made makeup a way that they could further their platform for women. By wearing it and looking attractive, they were breaking the stereotype that people, and they were writing this back in the 60s, that feminists were man-hating shrews. We hear that stereotype today, comes from the 60s. And these women, they kind of fought against that, and they used makeup not as, for male pleasure and, their delight. They used it for themselves to further their agenda. So, yeah, they rejected makeup, and Miss America 1958 pageant was probably the biggest thing that they did, and that was the women's liberation group. Of course, not all feminists were against makeup, but for the majority, they did kind of go against what it stood for, and a lot of it had to do with what we see in the 1950s and the stress on conformity and having every woman adhere to the same standard. Then we get, at the end of the 1960s, this movement back to conservatism. And you see women who wanted to stay home and be housewives, who wanted, to have that traditional feminine beauty from the 1950s. And they kind of felt, with the 60s that, they weren't very represented, they were being attacked. And you have people like Mary Kay Ash, who founded Mary Kay. She was a conservative woman, and she wanted to help these women who were mothers, they were housewives. She believed that they needed economic empowerment, so she agreed with feminists in that regard. But she also believed that there had to be a compromise with beauty, that if women wanted to be taken seriously in the business world and alongside men, they needed to dress a certain way, and they needed to wear makeup, and they needed to respect their colleagues. So they kind of, butt heads with the feminists empower women outside of the household, she actually went and looked for women who were at home, who wanted to do something, outside and work in her company. She was also one of the first ones to be more inclusive in her company. So she did start printing advertisements in both English and Spanish, and she reached out to the Latin American community here in the United States. And she started using African American women in her advertisements. She was hiring them as well. So you see her, kind of giving these women a voice, which when you think of conservatism, sometimes that may not be your first thought. But she really was pretty feminist in a lot of ways. And finally, I have this quote from Yoko Ono. The 1960s were about releasing ourselves from conventional society to break ourselves. And in a way, makeup allowed women to do that. They allowed to have different makeup looks, and it correlates with their social and political stances. You still see the conservative women embracing traditional beauty of the 1950s. You start seeing, young girls not wanting to look like their mothers, and you see, African American women finally able to embrace their beauty, and then you see the beauty industry and the advertising starting to realize that they need to be more inclusive, that they need to make more products for different skin tones and for different types of people.